Hello everyone, my name is Roshan and I am the chapter director at Startup Grind Multan. I welcome you to this session, which will be based upon stress management with the very own speaker, Mariana. But let me get started with the formal introduction about Startup Grind. What is Startup Grind? Startup Grind is the largest community of founders, innovators, creators, and entrepreneurs. It was founded by the Derek Anderson in 2010 in Silicon Valley with a mission to educate, inspire, and connect. And nowadays, we have all around the world, covering 625 plus cities around 120 countries. And we are promoting our community through our local events and flagship conferences. And we are successful due to our core values, which are make friends, help others, and give first. And we believe in making friends all around the world, and we are having a great experience while making friends. Now, today's guest speaker is Mariana, who is the founder of Empowering Strategies, having health professional nearly 20 years, strategist coach, empowerment coach, and author of Your Time Is Now. That is a very interesting title. Your Time Is Now. And she also specializes in human behaviors. I welcome to the ma'am on the lane stage. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing?
Hello. Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm doing really well, and what can I say? I would like to acknowledge you, Roshan, for organizing this event, and it's a great pleasure to be invited to speak about stress and anxiety in times of adversity. So, thank you for having me today.
Thank you. We have an honor to have you with us as you are amazing in the stress management and also have a health professionalism. So we will be talking more in details about yourself, how you came to this side, like to be an empowerment coach. What was the idea? What was your thought?
Well, it was an interesting journey, and I was really challenged with my son as he was being a teenager. At one stage, he kind of spiraled out of control, and I didn't know how to deal with him. And one thing led to another, and I started looking for answers. And because I wasn't really finding the answers from doctors to psychologists to psychiatrists, and everywhere I was turning, everyone was telling me there's nothing I can do to help my son. And as a mother, I did not believe that, and I was searching, and one thing led to another, and by reading and studying, I landed at the coaching institute. And little did I knew when I decided to join and become a coach, thinking that I will become a coach to help my son. Little did I knew that I needed help myself. So it's been an empowering journey, and I am here now helping others empower themselves and look at things from a different perspective. Because I didn't know what I didn't know. I was a really controlling mother, and I wanted things done my way or the highway. So, and looking back now, those were really challenging times. Looking back now, I am glad that I went through all that. Otherwise, I would not be here today.
Yeah, that's really amazing. You are doing really amazing job to help others, which is also our core values, help others. And you are doing an amazing job empowering
Thank,
others.
thank you.
What was, as you are a health professional, let us little know about what was your basic field.
My field is radiography. So I've been a radiographer for nearly 20 years. It's still helping others in their diagnostic process, so is helping, still helping. So it's still a helping field. It's still caring. It's still looking after others. Yeah, I'm not surprised that I'm shifting from one thing to another, and it's still something in a field that's caring, in a field that's making a difference, but on a bigger scale.
So how did you overcome this strategy that mostly people don't overcome? Like they want to switch from one side to the another, but they are not able to switch from one field to another. Which factors were in you that made you this at the
It,
moment, what you are now?
it's it's being determined and knowing what you want, and really really stay the course and slowly, step by step. It's not like it doesn't happen overnight. I still haven't transitioned fully into the coaching. I'm still on a journey, and I'm enjoying both sides, the radiography as well as the coaching. So and they go hand in hand, and it's really empowering to be able to uh, stay the course with both of them.
So basically, you are passionate about your empowering strategies towards instead of radiography. Are you
Uh,
both passionate about?
yeah, definitely. I'm passionate about. I haven't decided to like shift because I didn't like radiography. I decided to shift because I could make a bigger difference to be able to empower others. So that it's a really big difference when you can change the way you look at things, change your perception, change what you believe and how you see yourself, to be able to believe that you can make a difference and you can change. It's really empowering, and to be able to do that for others, what I've done for myself, to shift the way I was looking at things. I used to be a really controlling mother. To shift the way I'm looking at things and to accept that my son behavior, I had something to do with it, but I didn't know any of that. So we don't know what we don't know until we know. And if we knew better, we could do better. If we don't know any other way, we can't do it. So that's really empowering to be able to share this message with others.
I guess we just missed for your last minute, so I could not get you.
Oh, really? That's
Mm,
okay. So internet
because this,
connection is not that good sometimes. It's
yeah,
technology accepting things as they are, and sometimes they work. Technology is working, and sometimes it doesn't work. So accepting things for what they are, it's okay. It's all good.
yeah. This is virtually, so we have to accept everything
Yeah,
what is being
accepting things
done.
as they are.
Yeah. So I just want to know, as well, our audience would like to know about which specific incident turned your life towards empowering others. Any specific incident you want to share with the audience?
There's quite a few. At the moment I had a shift in myself, and the moment I saw my son change when I changed, because he didn't change until I changed. Then I saw the power and what I was thinking and how I was thinking and how I was looking at things, because I believed, I used to believe actually, that I'm the mother, I know better, and he has to do what I want him to do, not what he wanted to do. And all this started the moment I made the decision to and chose his subjects for VCE. They weren't the subject that he wanted. They were the subject that I thought that he needed for him to be able to have a education, to be able to have a variety of subjects, to have choices to go further. And that was the moment that everything went down the hill from there. And then when I realized that my decisions and my beliefs and the way I was looking at things wasn't working, and the moment I changed and I shifted and I stopped blaming him and I stopped screaming at him, and I stopped having expectations that things could be any other ways than they were. I realized that because until then I was still attempting to control things, and I was having expectations, and some of them were really unrealistic expectations. And the moment I realized that my expectations really putting me out to suffer, was the moment, was like things changed completely. And after that, I came from a place of connecting with him, and not screaming on a daily basis and coming home and really blaming him for his behavior and
You are
control
such a
that.
strong lady to overcome such a big things, and you are moving now with amazing job.
Thank you.
Before handing over to you with your stress management session, I would like to ask last question. So, what do you think about the COVID situations? How they are affecting the people in stressing?
Wow. This, I guess, it depends on the individual. A lot of people are definitely affected by this, and this emphasizes things even more. So if some people were stressed, this will emphasize their stress and they triggers even more. So it's not the COVID that is bringing those things out, is whatever gets triggered from within. So it can be any other thing, but this year has been COVID, and a lot of people have been affected by this, because it's not, and because it's on a global level, and
That
some people are more affected than others. And unless you know yourself and you've done some work on yourself, most likely the majority of people, I would say, they really react to the situation instead of being able to pause and respond to whatever's going on. Because it's not the COVID, it's not the external things. All the things are within us that we are responding to ourselves, or we are reacting to ourselves at the end of the day. It's not the pandemic. But we are
exactly.
under the impression that it is
That
the pandemic.
how we are taking it, that depends mostly how we react to it.
Um, well, we get triggered because we've been conditioned by culture, but what we believe, but how what we've been through as we grew up as children. So it affects different people in different ways, and that's the puzzle, being able to understand ourselves and being able to work on what matter most to us and get to know ourselves, to be able to shift our perspective, to be able to pause, to be able to respond instead of really reacting and living in flight and fight mode. That's what it comes down to.
Now I would hand over to you. Can you share with your screen?
Yeah, definitely. I will now. I will share 3 steps and how to deal with anxiety in times of adversity. So I will share my screen. I'll share my screen. Let's share my screen. Application, PowerPoint. Here we are. I'm sharing my screen and I am starting the presentation. How to deal with stress and anxiety in times of adversity. Now, I guess I like to ask a question. Now, who here has actually felt stress this year? Let me know in the comments, and as I believe this is live stream on Facebook, I'll be able to go back and check. I can't see the comments now. So who here would like to understand stress and anxiety a little bit better? So let me know in the comments. And who here would like to leave all this all behind and embrace 2021 and look at it from a different perspective? Let me know, say hello in the comments. And if you're watching this and replay, put a hashtag replay. I'll come back and I'll check your comments, and let's make the most of it today. On interact with me, take notes, comment, share, because that's when you learn the most. And put your thoughts in the comments. Now, if it's okay with you, is it okay, because we have a limited time together, if it's okay with you, can I go a little bit fast so I can give you as much value and the time that we have available together? If it's okay with you, is it okay if at the end of this, I share how you can possibly get some more information? And I've got a surprise for you at the end of it. So most people and here's the thing that I want you to know and remember. Stress and anxiety does not discriminate, regardless of religion, regardless of age, regardless of sex, regardless of our ethnicity. No one is immune from stress and anxiety. And this is the reality. Stress is our response to a perceived threat, either real or imaginary. And it's either can be internal or external. It can be physical, mental, emotional. So we have different types of stresses. And now a lot of researchers in this area has been showing that all of us respond to a stimulus, and we go through, and when we get stressed, our body goes through an alarm, through a reaction. Then it goes into stages from resistance to, and if we have a consistent stimulus, it can even end up being to become exhaustions. Now, the alarm and reaction happens very fast. And it happens through a cerebral cortex, hypothalamus, and it goes through adrenal. Cortisol and adrenaline is released to all our bloodstream. And in those moments, the sympathetic nervous system is activated, and cortisol and adrenaline goes all the way through our body. and through all our organs, and prepare us for fight or flight mode. And many people in those days, especially in big cities, are in a constant stress and a constant feeling that there is a threat as they are on edge, especially during the week when they work. Research only shows that during the weekend, some people may even get depressed because they feel like something is not normal, and they get addicted to the high cortisol level during the week. So statistics from the global organizations for stress reports that, now I live in Australia, so 70% of Americans experience moderate to high stress level that affects their physical health. And stress is the number one health concern in high school students. 91% of Australians are feeling stress about one or more areas in their life. Also, a lot of about 450,000 workers in Britain believe that their stress was making them ill. 80% of people feel stress at work. 73% of people have stress that impacts their mental health. And a lot of people are unable to have trouble sleeping because of that. Now, this kind of paints a grim picture, and it impacts a lot of lives. And to understand this better, there are two types of stresses which I will share. So we can have eustress, which is positive, and we have distress, which is negative. Now, eustress is the kind of stress that really motivates us. Is the kind of stress that is when we focus on improving performance, is when we concentrate on a specific task, is the kind of stress that athletes tap into when they are on track or they wait for the gun to go off. And most people tap into this type of stress when someone, maybe when someone's getting married or having a child, or someone's getting a promotion at work, or someone is passing an exam and getting great results. So that's all eustress, because they're reaping the rewards of their performance. And this is short-term positive stress. On the other hand, this stress is negative, and it's really opposite, and it triggers anxiety and depressions, and really lowers our performance. And this can be short-term or long-term. And currently this year, with the current pandemic, as we discussed, we are really inundated with media and the news, especially when we watch, especially for the people that watch a lot of mainstream. And if you're watching the mainstream media and social media, and if you get links shared by the family to look at different viewpoints that's going around the world, so this is going to really impact and can become chronic for some people. And the reality is, this is their daily living. So some of the top causes of stress, really money, the economy, family, it can be the relationship, job, and personal issue, housing cost, job stability, and that can have a really big impact. And on the way we live, the way we look at things, because people can have difficulties finding the way, a different way of earning, family health problem, and they may not even feel safe. And the common, if we move forward to understand the common system of stress, can be irritability, fatigue, lack of motivation. It can be nervousness or worry. They may have the feeling that they may feel sad, they may feel down, they may get indigestion, muscle tension, and some of them may have changes in their appetite. Either they don't feel like eating, or they may eat more than usual, like emotional eating, because they get triggered. And I love what William James says: the greatest weapon against stress is the ability to choose one thought over another. So our experience comes down to the quality of our thinking. So our experiences comes down to the quality of thinking. To go into details and to explain this further, there's three steps. 3 steps to really understand stress and anxiety. First of all, we must have the awareness, and then we must know our sphere of control and influence. And step 3 is the choices that we make to either react or respond to the circumstances in our lives. First of all, we must become aware. We must become aware of what triggers us. And what does awareness actually mean? Awareness is the state of being conscious of something, or the ability to really directly know or perceive or feel, or simply being conscious of events and circumstances around us. So awareness is the key towards any desire to have less stress in our life. And if you're not able to change anything unless you are aware of it. If you don't have any awareness, you can't change anything. Because if there is no awareness, you can't change anything if you're not aware what you need to change. So we are unable to change what we are not aware of. And how are you dealing with an adversity? How are you handling stress? How are you dealing with minor or major changes in your life? And why is this important to understand the ups and downs of life? Because this can generate either personal growth, or it can create and instill fear and worry within us. And there are simple ways of dealing with this. And when we under pressure, when we are stressed, one way is to either buckle down under pressure and give in, where the stress simply overpowers you and you decide that you are unable to handle things. And then you withdraw because you think that you are unable to handle it. Or you can decide that whatever is happening in your life, you can go the other way. When you decide that no matter what is happening, most likely it's something that you can handle, because you know you can. So the moment you think that you can handle it, you activate a sense of empowerment. And here's the thing. There is something that we all have. We all have the ability to learn and cultivate this. The thing is, most people are not given a sense of empowerment as growing up. So regardless of the adversity, I guess we have two choices. One is to think in a way that things are too much to handle, and you draw and you go in a self-sabotaging behavior, or to know that you can handle it and you activate a sense of empowerment from within. And this is something you must cultivate. Is not something that we really grow up with, and most of us haven't, because our parents haven't really empowered us. So the thing is to understand that you are stronger than your mind, because it's your mind that decides if you can or you cannot handle things. So once you realize that you are stronger than that, you can simply direct your mind in a way that you want your mind to be flexible. So becoming aware of what triggers us is essential, because this can happen in an instant, and all of a sudden you can be in a total different mental state, like you're unable to control yourself, react to, and you automatically react to the situation. And when this happens, it happens automatically. And usually, normally we think that everyone else is at fault. It's not you. It's the other person. It's not you. You start to blame. You start to justify. The thinking is that you triggering me. That's the thinking. It's the other person triggering. It's not me. What we need to understand is the trigger is always on the inside of us. Inside you, inside me. So the triggers is within. There is no trigger on the outside, but we think that the triggers is on the outside. So the trigger is on the inside, even though you under the impression that the trigger is outside. So when something bothers you externally on the outside of you, it's because something is bothering you from inside. And that's why, and that's how this happens. This is because you have an expectation. You have an unrealistic expectation, and whatever you want is not going the way you expect it. And because of that, you feel like you're losing the plot. And I used to do that on a regular basis. And you may end up being anxious, you scream, and this happens automatically. It's like you don't have control over it. And how do we stop being triggered? This is a pattern of behavior that you need to become aware. And those moments, you got to ask yourself, what is the expectations on the inside that really gets provoked? What's the need? What is it making me lose the plot? Simply ask yourself. By asking this and pausing and reflecting, you can identify your unmet expectation and your needs. And it can be anything. You can expect your partner to talk in a caring voice. You expect him to leave the toilet, sit down, or you expect the dishes and the sink to be done, or you expect dinner to be cooked, or you expect the boss to give clear instructions. Or you expect the traffic to be flawless and to have green lights. So you gotta really identify what's the expectation, and most likely it's an expectation that is not met, that is triggering you. The other thing can be your belief around what you are expecting. It's the belief that you have around. And usually there is a gap between what it is, the reality, and what is your expectation. And the trigger is in the gap. And the feeling comes up in your body, and we usually automatically react, and most people want to get rid of the trigger, and usually that's what they want, and this brings up emotions, and this is because most people are not allowed to really express their emotions as children. What we need to understand, every single emotion is useful. And there is no good and there is no bad emotions. But we think we are under the impression that there is good and bad. And the thing is, when we don't need to get rid of the trigger, we need to have a better relationships with our feelings and reflect and see what's underneath the trigger. And we need to really look into it and heal that side of us to acknowledge that. The other thing is, feelings are valid, and it's okay to feel them. It's okay to feel, and the feelings are sending you a message to pay attention. The other thing to understand is there is nothing wrong with you. When you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling angry, there's nothing wrong. The feeling is sending you a message, but most people think there is something wrong. Feeling that you feel inside of your body is a psychological response that can be in your chest, can be in your stomach, can be in your throat, can be in your arms, can be in your legs, and most likely it's the fight and flight response, and that's perfectly okay. So it's okay to have all this, to feel all this in different parts of your body, but then when we feel uncomfortable, we don't like it and we want to get rid of it. And then instead of processing those feelings, we either shut them down or we act them out. And that's when we get stuck. Because we don't think that those feelings are beneficial. But we gotta understand that it's really useful to feel those feelings, to really feel those feelings. What we need to get is that it's okay to feel tightness in your chest. It's okay to feel that feeling in your throat. And once you acknowledge and say, it's okay, it's uncomfortable, it's not going to be uncomfortable anymore. So those feelings are a message. And it's okay to be stressed. It's okay to be anxious. It's okay to feel anger. And simply tell your mind that you're feeling stress, and simply say, hey, anger, hey, anxious, I'm feeling like this. Simply start talking with your feelings. The thing to be aware is that feelings is not in charge of you. It's simply sending you a message, but it's not your master. Once you start to understand that those feelings are okay, you start to have a different relationships with the feelings. You don't need to get rid of it. So now to step number 2. So a sphere of control and influence. And why is it important to know what we can control and what we can influence? Now, what we need to understand is to know our triggers and to be able to know what we can control and what we can influence. We cannot control others. We cannot, and I've done this and I've tried for years. It does not work. We cannot do it. We cannot control others' behavior. We cannot control how others react. We cannot control circumstances. We cannot control situations. We cannot control any of that. We cannot control the weather. We cannot control if there is a traffic jam. We cannot control how the stock market is going to go. We cannot control the pandemic. All these are external to us. We don't have any control. And most people get triggered by circumstances, by others. And the tendency is to blame, the tendency is to justify. The truth is, you really are stronger than anything external. And we can choose to do things differently. So the next thing, the step 3, is choice. And we do have a choice, either to react or to respond to the circumstances in our life. And why is this important to know that we have the power to choose? Normally, stress and anxiety and anger comes up really, really fast, and most people react. So there is the feeling that, and what we need to understand, between the feelings and the reaction, there is a little tiny space. And most people are really sticking them together, but they're different. So we need to create a gap between the feeling and the reaction. First, it's not to fear the feeling, because when we are fearing, when we have fear, it's not good. And most people in that moment may start to either yell, or because that's uncomfortable. And because we have the feeling, maybe a trauma clause, and we want to relieve it, and that's what we yell. And I used to do that. The thing is, if you pause and stop, to really stop and take a breath and count backwards, you can count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is a 5 seconds rule by Mel Robbins. Or you can start talking with your feeling, and actually ask your feeling, what's going on? Simply talk with your feeling. I know in your head you can talk with your feelings. It's okay to talk with your feelings, because in that moment you activate the language center in your brain, which is the part of brain that is logical, and it's starting to calm you down. Either you realize it or not. That's what's happening when you do that. And there are a lot of techniques that you can put in place to really calm yourself down in stressful situation, or when you feel anxious. The idea is to choose a technique and do it again and again and again, to be able to create a space between the feelings, because the feelings are not the problem. And most people think that the feelings are the problem because they don't want to feel uncomfortable, because we've been taught there is good feelings and bad feelings. There is no such a thing. There's just feelings. There's just emotions. There is no good and bad. It just is. The fact, feeling, and the reaction, they simply, the feeling and the reaction are too close together. And if you can create a little space to calm yourself down, to really pause, you're not going to react. It's about becoming aware of your habits. It's about becoming aware of your patterns. It's about becoming aware of your patterns and breaking those patterns and taking a pause. So when you notice the feelings coming up, don't get scared by the feelings. It's okay. Don't feel like you have to do something now. Simply fall into it. Observe it. You can either choose to go outside and take a walk in those moments, or take 6 deep breaths in and out. At the end of the day, it has to be something that works for you. Have a go and adopt something. Have a strategy that will work for you. And there is ways to really separate from both the positive and the negative feeling that we think we have, and to develop more like a neutral mind when you are not moved by too much, either to be positive or negative, and you become a master of your destiny, because you be able to stay calm and connect, and be able to look at things differently. At the end of the day is how you perceive change, how you view change, and you can either embrace change or you can resist change. And I love what Shakespeare said, because he said that nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And that's a very important lesson here. And it's essential to become aware of this and to understand the difference between a situation that you find yourself in and what your mind actually says about the situation that you find yourself in, especially in challenging times, especially in challenging circumstances, when you are dealing with a lot of stress, when you are dealing with a lot of adversity. Let's say maybe possibly you lose your job. And lots of people would have lost their job during this year with the pandemic. Now, going back to Shakespeare, as what he said, what does it mean when he said nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so? What does it actually mean? What does it mean to be able to differentiate between the situation that you are finding yourself in and what you are experiencing? And you're thinking about the situation that you may be experiencing, the thoughts that you have, the concerns that you have about the situation that you're experiencing, whatever is the situation. It's the story that you made up about the experience. And this will certainly create a lot of self-talk, and usually most of this is negative. So because we have a tendency to be more negative than positive about any situations we find ourselves in, and our mind will create different scenarios. And it's not just how bad it is now, but how bad it's going to be. So we project into the future, and even how worse is going to be. And the mind may actually say that it's already worse, and it can get even worse than what it is. And since we know that our mind has a tendency to do that, I like to suggest an experiment that you can really have a go at. And I have learned this from Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now. So here's the experiment. Becoming aware of the difference between any situation you find yourself in and the story you tell yourself about the situation. And the moment when you feel unhappy, or the moment when you find yourself saying, I can't do this, your mind may actually say it's going to get worse. And most likely that's what's going to happen, because we have a tendency to do that. And your mind may say, I can't take this any longer. Or it may say, this is too challenging. So what we need to pay attention to is the things that are happening now, and the concerns of the things that will happen in the future. Do we have a tendency to project into the future? Are we looking into the past? So become aware of your self-talk and the story that you really run with it. What are you doing in those moments? So most of us have self-talk, every single one of us. And some of us have a lot more than other. And your self-talk can become real, and it will seem like it's real to you, especially when you talk with others. And as an experiment, I will suggest that you do this and ask yourself, how will I experience this situation if I didn't add any unnecessary thoughts to it? Because we have a tendency to add something extra. How will I experience this moment? How will I experience this situation that I'm finding myself in without any additional self-talk? In most cases, the additional self-talk is negative because our mind has a tendency to pay attention to the negative more than the positive. And most researchers said the ratio is about 5-1. And I love what Eckhart Tolle said, that the addition of the thoughts is really excess baggage in our life. And I think he's onto something. I think he's onto something. So to most people don't actually notice and don't realize that that is happening, that they are making themselves unhappy. And sometimes this can go on for years. And this includes myself. I used to be negative. I used to be worry. I used to worry about things, about others, about judgments. I used to worry about things. And most people, they never learn to really differentiate between the situation that they find themselves in and they mind that our mind can really add to the situation. So they experience a situation through their self-talk of their mind and extra. Have a go at this and see what happens. See what happens if you refrain yourself from interpreting it as either good or bad. So the questions will really direct your attention to be able to be present, in the present moment. Have a go at this and see how you're actually feeling. And once you start to notice and ask, is that true? Pay attention to your thoughts. And you can do this through meditation and become present to what is instead what could be. And the other strategy that you can use is to take 6 deep breaths in and out, and and those moments when we do that, we deactivate the sympathetic nervous system and we activate the parasympathetic system. So there is a lot of strategies, a lot of things that we can do. So the 3 steps in understanding stress and anxiety are becoming aware, and becoming aware of what's going on is the really key if we want to change anything in our life, or we want to start to look and question things and see things as they are, because the reality, it's not the reality that is, it's our reality. It's how we look at things. It's not the actual reality, because we filter to our filters. Then being able to know your sphere of influence, what is within your control and what is outside of your control. And then the choices that we are making, because we have the power to choose. And we have the power to choose either to react or to respond. So you must take responsibility. It's our responsibility. So it's important to take responsibility. And I like what Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And that space is our power to choose our response. And our response lies our growth and our freedom, because we have the power to choose in those moments. And we can pause and choose to respond instead of reacting to what's going on outside us. And most people, they automatically react. So this is I love to know What did you love? What did you learn? And what would you like to share? Let me know. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and let me know your thoughts. Let me know let me know your thoughts, and let me know what you took away from this.
Thank you, Mariana. It was really such a keynote. It was really informative about stress. How we must take care of these things, like some triggers you told. And main
Hmm.
thing, in my opinion, is the awareness. People lacks awareness. They don't know
Yes,
what to do and how to handle the things with different perspectives. And you are doing really such
yes,
an amazing job to empower other people in the stress management. Stress is more dangerous than any other physical disability, in my opinion.
definitely, because it impacts us on so many levels. And yeah, that definitely. A lot of people are really impacted by stress. And this year has been magnified more than any other time in history.
Exactly. So here are with some questions from different audience.
Yeah,
I would like to ask on the
yeah,
first one is how to overcome the relationship stress, like breakups or anything related to relationship. How people can handle.
breakout in relationship stress. That's a great question, and this can take a die. So you gotta be. It's not a question that easy answer, because it's all about the individual. So uh, especially if they don't take responsibility, and they have a tendency to blame the breakup of the relationship to the other person. First of all, we must take responsibilities and on what's going on with us, and be willing to work towards that. So you and heal ourselves, not to take that into the next relationship. And usually breakouts are never easy, because we perceive that the other person is at fault, and most people don't take responsibility for for themselves and the reason behind the relationship fallout. So it's not it goes both way at the end of the day.
Mm,
So it's not only one way. So it's both ways. So
mm,
it's never easy,
exactly.
unless we start to look into things and want our side of the story.
Exactly. Rightly said. We must take responsibility what we do,
Mm,
so
yeah.
that the next stage would not come.
That's so true. Otherwise, you take and you, because it's a behavior pattern, and you will
Mm,
be repeating the same pattern because nothing happens. We most people think that whatever happens to them. It doesn't happen to them. It happens for them, so they can learn something from the situation, so they can learn something from the circumstances that they're in. And unless they are willing to take the learning from whatever is going on in their life, they will repeat the same behavior pattern again and again and again. So that's what usually happens. Do you have any other questions?
Moving forward, we continuing with 2 to 3 minutes covering as much possible.
I see.
So someone asked about there are many financial problems, financial crisis, especially in COVID-19. Everyone is stressed. How to manage finance? What will be your suggestions for those people?
Well, it's definitely not easy, but it's not a matter of finance at the end of the day, because we gotta manage ourselves. It's not the finance, even though it may come across that is the finance, is the husband, is the boss, is the pandemic, is all external. It's not that, because it doesn't matter. Like the lottery winners, if they win lotto and they will win millions of dollars, within few years they go back and they lose all the money and end up even possibly sometimes in a worse position than before they won the money, because they have a scarcity mindset. They don't have self-worth. They don't have self-belief. They don't feel like they are worthy of that. So it's all about the mindset. It's about our perceptions, it's the decisions that we make, and it's the actions that we take. Are we willing to do anything about it? Are we willing to ask for help? And most people have pride and they don't go to ask for help, or they don't have access, or they don't know any different. So most of the time it's not about the situation that you find yourself. It's how you deal with on with you. So it's not about money, because if we have resourcefulness, we will make it happen. We will go out. We'll make it happen. We will ask for help. We will read a book. We make it happen. And most people, it's not about what's going on. Even though most of the time it seems
Yeah.
like
Mm, like he said that as much as he gets
what
money
was
in
that
their hands,
breaking out?
so finance. I said person did not become happy as much as he or they can get money in their hands.
Oh, definitely. I think that is an illusion, because happiness comes from
Mhm.
within. And
Mhm.
unless you are happy,
Exactly.
you can go and get the job or get the money, and that the happiness is not going to be there, because that needs to be cultivated from within. So it's an illusion to think that once you have more money, you'll be happy, or once you have a better job, you'll be happy. It's not going to happen, because that's only going to be temporary. It's fleeting. So we gotta cultivate that from
Mm.
within. It's not external.
Mm. Yeah, it's all upon internal factors.
Yes,
We would be
it's all
taking
an
our
internal
last
process.
questions.
Yes.
So, someone asked about does the eating habits causes stress?
Does what?
Um, Eating
What
habits
was that? Eating
causes
habits?
stress.
Oh, definitely, because usually eating habits are all emotional. So most people do emotional eating, and usually it's because there is an unmet need underneath the emotional eating. So that can be stressful. Even that's a behavior pattern, and sometimes that can be a protection mechanism to put on weight, to not to be seen, not to be attract attention. So it's all a behavior pattern, and it's a way of coping with things. And yeah, some people, and I do that myself, sometimes I eat and I find myself eating and eating and eating. And
Yeah.
it is because of stress, and it's a coping mechanism. We have a tendency to go for food, or we go out shopping, or we do or we drink, or we, it depends. Everyone's got their
or
own
do any
pattern behavior.
exactly. So I would like to thank you for joining us. That was really an impressive from your
Thank you.
side.
Most
In the
welcome. Most welcome.
in the end, we like to make an announcement for our audience. Here is some special giveaway by the speaker Mariana. She will be telling further about what she has brought to the audience.
Well, my book, I've decided this is before Christmas. So today I made the announcement. So uh, my time is now. So since and this is a blueprint that can really take you from living your life by default to living your life by choice. And for the next 5 days, this is only 99 cents. So you can go ahead, buy it, and
Here
really
is
take
the
yourself from living by default to living by choice and make better choices in your life.
here is a link as well. You can buy this book from Amazon. Your time is now. So get
Thank
it
you.
and make your time.
Yes, your time is now to choose things and do things differently. It's your time. Your time is now
Exactly.
different choices, to make better
So,
decisions, to empower yourself, to look at things from a different perspective, and to really feel different. That's really
so
important.
we also have something special for the audience as well. We will be giving away the VIP in joining the Startup Grind Europe Asia Conference. They may contact us.
Great. That's such a great offer.
And that's really, and this is the first time we are going virtually. And thank you again, Mariana, for
Wow.
joining us.
Most welcome. Most
Have
welcome.
a
Thank you. Thank you.
have a
It's my pleasure to
have
be here.
have a
Thank
good
you.
time.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for inviting me, Roshan. Thank you.
My pleasure to have with you.
Thank you.
So everyone, thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for more events, more wonderful sessions, and must join tomorrow at Startup Grand Europe Asia Conference. There will be a lot of sessions, 100 plus speakers, which are the famous names: Guy Kawasaki, Steve Blank, and many more. Must visit and stay tuned. Have a good time. Thank you.